You know that friend who never quite matches the image we have in our head when someone says the word genius? They're not the loud one, dominating every conversation with big ideas or showing off facts at parties. More often, they're the person who stays a bit quiet in the group, disappears into their own world for long stretches, or suddenly asks a simple question that makes everyone stop and think twice. That person isn't awkward or detached. Their mind is simply operating on a different level, one that picks up more, feels more, and needs more space to process everything. If you've ever been told you overthink things, that you spend too much time by yourself, or that you notice details others completely miss, then listen closely. This video is going to hit close to home. Today, we're diving into the psychology of people with extremely high IQ, and why so many of your everyday habits that society calls weird are actually signs of a rare and finely tuned mind. Here's what most people misunderstand about having an extremely high IQ. It isn't mainly about collecting knowledge or solving math problems faster than everyone else. It's about how your brain experiences and processes the world, with greater intensity, deeper curiosity, and a constant drive to understand patterns that others overlook. Once you see these patterns clearly, many moments when you felt different or out of place will suddenly start to make a lot more sense. But here's what's fascinating about this. The world usually imagines highly intelligent people as outgoing, always surrounded by admirers, and quick to speak their mind in any setting. Yet for many of you, the opposite feels more natural. You often find yourself spending a lot of time alone, and that solitude isn't empty, it's necessary. While most people gain energy from crowds, parties, and constant chatter, your brain often feels drained by them. Alone, you can finally let your thoughts breathe, connect distant ideas, and turn the day's experiences into something meaningful. This habit of seeking solitude isn't antisocial. It's your mind protecting its limited energy so it can do what it does best: deep processing. Research from the London School of Economics points out that individuals with higher cognitive ability frequently prefer fewer but more meaningful social interactions because their brains simply require more internal recovery time. And this is where things get really interesting. Your brain doesn't just run a little faster, it runs with more sensitivity and intensity. Psychologists refer to this as overexcitabilities, an idea first explored by Kazimierz Dabrowski in his work with gifted individuals. People with very high IQ often show stronger reactions in intellectual, emotional, and sensory areas. That's why constant curiosity feels so natural to you. You ask questions about everything, even small things. You might catch yourself talking to yourself out loud while working through a problem because it helps organize your racing thoughts. These aren't quirks. They're tools your brain uses to test ideas and make sense of complexity. A study conducted on Mensa members in 2018 revealed that people in the top intelligence range displayed significantly higher levels of intellectual curiosity and self-talk as a way to process information. Picture this for a moment. You're back in school, maybe 10 or 12 years old. The classroom is buzzing with noise and group activities, but your mind keeps drifting. You're wondering why things are the way they are, imagining different outcomes, or quietly observing how people interact. Teachers might have labeled it as distraction or shyness. In truth, your developing brain was already hungry for depth and meaning in a world that often felt too superficial. Many of these patterns take root early. The habit of overthinking even small decisions, staying up late lost in thought, or feeling more comfortable watching and listening than jumping into every conversation. These started long before adulthood. They reflect a nervous system that was wired from the beginning to seek understanding rather than just blend in. Here's something most people never really consider. People with high IQ are often surprisingly comfortable saying, "I don't know." While others feel pressure to sound certain all the time, you're willing to admit gaps in your knowledge. This openness isn't weakness. It's a sign of real intellectual strength. It allows you to stay flexible and change your mind when fresh evidence appears. Studies on cognitive flexibility have consistently shown that higher intelligence correlates with the ability to update beliefs more easily instead of stubbornly holding on to old ideas. This mental agility helps you grow and adapt in ways many people find difficult. You also tend to have a strong, sometimes sharp or ironic sense of humor. It's not just to entertain others, it's your brain's clever way of dealing with life's contradictions and absurdities. Humor becomes a tool for processing complexity without getting overwhelmed. While the majority of people recharge by being around others and staying constantly stimulated, you often discover your best ideas and clearest thinking during quiet moments or late at night. Late-night thinking sessions, when the house is silent and your mind can wander freely, aren't a sign of insomnia or worry. They're when your brain does some of its deepest work, exploring patterns, questioning assumptions, and searching for meaning in everyday experiences. You observe more than you speak in many situations. This quiet observation isn't disinterest. It's your mind gathering information, reading between the lines, and understanding people and situations on a deeper level before responding. Most people don't feel that same constant pull toward meaning and insight. For you, it's almost automatic. Of course, these habits can sometimes weigh on you. Constant curiosity can turn into overthinking. The need for solitude can start feeling like avoidance if it goes too far. And the search for meaning in everything can make ordinary days feel heavy. But there's a clear line between using these traits to nourish your mind and letting them become a way to hide from the world. When balanced, spending time alone, talking through ideas with yourself, staying curious, and remaining open to new evidence, all of these become real advantages. They help you see connections others miss and live with greater awareness. When you step back and connect all these pieces, the comfort with solitude, the endless curiosity that makes you ask questions and talk to yourself, the ease of saying, "I don't know," and changing your mind, the sharp humor, the late-night reflections, the habit of observing quietly, and that constant search for deeper meaning, something important becomes clear. Having an extremely high IQ isn't about being the loudest or most obviously brilliant person in any room. It's about living with a brain that experiences life more intensely, notices more, feels more, and naturally seeks understanding in a world that often moves too fast and too shallow. You're not broken, weird, or overly complicated. You're not antisocial or difficult. You're simply wired with a rarer kind of mind, one that values depth, truth, and insight. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, these qualities are exactly what allow certain people to contribute ideas, creativity, and perspective that others can't. Once you stop apologizing for how your mind naturally works and start honoring these habits as strengths, life begins to feel less exhausting and far more aligned with who you actually are. If this resonated with you and made you feel a little more understood, you're likely going to connect deeply with the video about why some people crave profound solitude to feel truly alive. I've put the link right here for you. If this kind of thoughtful, honest psychology is what you've been looking for, I genuinely appreciate you subscribing. It helps the channel more than you might realize. Take good care of that powerful, curious mind of yours. It's more special than you know.